this is an asset for you, and you're building an asset, and you're building a business that is someday going to allow you to retire, hopefully, right? And so thinking of your business in a bigger way will help you make better decisions, help you be profitable faster. A lot of what we're going to talk about today, I hope will rattle that for some people to kind of think differently about their business, that it's bigger than just staffing that one shift. Yes, that's a priority, but there's so many other things you could be really thinking about.
All right, so in this episode, as we continue the conversation of creating to connect, to strengthen your brand experience as a home care agency owner, we're going to take things a little bit different. And to set the mood for the next bit of conversation here, I'm going to ask you the question: if you had to sell your business today, and let's just say you were the buyer out there looking to buy a home care business, would you buy your business as it is right now? And if you're wavering on that answer, if you're not sure, then today, as a perfect guest, I've got Jennifer Ramos with M&A Business Advisors. We're going to talk about exit strategy. And you might wonder, how is exit strategy a conversation to talk about increasing and improving the brand experience now? But whether it's 3 months, 3 years, or 10 years from now that you're looking at your exit, we want to make sure that your whole entire brand experience, everything is put in line so it pays off now as well as pays off better down the road. So Jennifer, appreciate you connecting with us today and bringing some of this incredibly important information to home care owners. I was reading through some of what you do. I've known of you for a while. We haven't really had too many opportunities to connect, but was really impressed with the things that I've seen home care owners say about you and the way you've helped them preparing for exit and enjoy the ride to that exit. So kind of give us a quick introduction to M&A Business Advisors and you and your experience.
Okay. First off, thank you, Kevin, for having me. It's so nice to actually sit face to face with you also. So I've known about you for a long time too. You're doing some amazing work. So hats off.
Appreciate it.
Yes. So my name is Jennifer Ramos. I am with M&A Business Advisors. We have 12 offices, across the nation. I'm in the San Diego branch physically, but I work across the country. I've been an M&A advisor and a business broker for about 7 years now, 6, 7 years. I used to be a home care owner. I had a franchise operation, a few territories in San Diego, and I had a couple of my own independent home care agencies in Colorado, one home care agency and one staffing agency in Colorado. So I have a lot of experience in the home care space. So it is very near and dear to my heart. I love the owner that cares for seniors. And so I dedicate my life now to educate and teach business strategy, keeping exit strategy in mind. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. I know one thing that some people might think as they're hearing this, a little bit rattled with it, they're probably tuning in to get some ideas of how they can help their business right now and grow and succeed. And we're talking about exit strategy, but they're probably trying to figure out just how to get the next caregiver on shift or make payroll next week. So why are we talking about this now, regardless of where they're at? I mean, they could just be starting their business and we're talking to them right now about exit strategy. How is that important for them to keep that in mind now sooner than later?
Well, it's important to have a mindset shift. I talk about mindset shift a lot. And the reason why is because I've been there. I know what it's like you're worried about staffing those hours. You got a new client on Friday and, oh gosh, how am I going to staff this case? Right. So I get that. And that's the priority in the moment. But I want to challenge owners out there to kind of think bigger and think of your business and everything you're doing for your business. This is an asset for you, and you're building an asset, and you're building a business that is someday going to allow you to retire, hopefully, right? And so thinking of your business in a bigger way will help you make better decisions, help you be profitable faster. A lot of what we're going to talk about today, I hope will rattle that for some people to kind of think differently about their business, that it's bigger than just staffing that one shift. Yes, that's a priority, but there's so many other things you could be really thinking about.
All right. So coming from my lens, I work on web design, branding, all the fun marketing aspects of a brand. When we talk about a healthy brand for that exit, we're not just talking about the look and feel. It goes a little bit deeper. I constantly remind people that a brand is really just a culmination of experiences people say about you. And the idea is to have that overlap really positively with your view of what the brand should be. And the more that overlaps, the healthier the brand is. So what are some things that they can focus on now as they're building that valuable business, that valuable asset that can help them create a good brand health for their agency?
Great question. So, I really feel strongly that from the jump, I don't care if you just opened your business doors or you've been in business for 10 years. I really want to challenge folks out there to think of their business from the lens of a buyer. Like, would you buy your business and why or why not? And really sit down and really think about that and double down on it. And a lot of it is going to be the brand, the strength of the brand in every area of the business, the financial department, the care management department, and I call them departments so that the owner can think of their business differently, right? So the staffing department, like what is the brand for each area of your business, and then the totality of all of those departments together. What does it look like? So I think that's the single best advice I can give on that question is just think of it from a buyer's lens. Would you buy your own business and why or why not?
And looking at the value of it too, if you're looking that far out ahead and you're trying to sell, this can't be a business just about you, the owner. You've got to have something to sell. So how critical is it that the owner starts thinking about other people and the roles that they can fill to make that even more valuable as an asset?
It's huge. It's huge because when you do go and sell, you're trying to make your business desirable to someone else, right? That you're passing a baton to. So your ending is someone else's beginning. And so when what you're passing along isn't you, you're not going to go with the business, right? You might for a few months to help train, but your staff is going with the business. Your clients are going with the business. Your referral sources are going with that asset when it transitions. So it's really important to start thinking along those lines, or else you're not going to be able to sell. You won't be able to exit when and if you have to or want to.
Unless you just plan on becoming someone's employee down the road, right?
Yeah,
And they hire you and pay you,
100%. Yeah.
buy you out without you getting out, right?
Right. And from an owner's perspective, once you have that taste of ownership and you own your own company, you don't want to be someone's employee. I mean, truly, your whole heart is independence at that point. And to go back to being someone's employee and being told what to do is not what a true entrepreneur really is comfortable with, in my opinion.
Awesome. So beyond the team and, kind of going back to beyond the logo approach here, what are some of those key areas that you see home care owners either struggling in or succeeding in to build that experience that becomes the intangible, but the value driver for the business?
I think I think if I understood your question correctly, um, I think their biggest challenge is getting out of their own way and getting and trusting others with their
Mhm.
brand or with their baby, so to speak. Delegating, letting their team make mistakes, um, educating them, uplifting them, mentoring them, coaching them to do it either the way they would do it as the
Mhm.
owner, or understanding that maybe your team member has a better way of doing it or better suggestions, and then elevating them and edifying them and allowing them to have the autonomy to make the agency better. So I really do think the biggest challenge in my opinion is the owner getting out of their own way and allowing that to happen.
Awesome.
It's tough for them, I think.
Yeah. So when I talk about experience, I often point at in this world, you have the family, you have the client, you have the caregiver, you have the team, you have you as the owner, and you also have referral partners in the community that you build up with.
Mhm.
And as part of that sell, in the future and part of the value building right now to get things moving forward, to get good word of mouth and get good scalable growth, having good experiences in each of those areas is critical.
Mhm.
So what things you feel that they really need to focus on now in preparation for the exit that they need to have in place to affect those areas, the customer experience, the client experience, the operational team experience, and then the employees, those caregivers that they have a tough job. So what things you see are effective in putting those experiences in a more of a consistent, reliable mode so the business actually has some solid value in those areas.
Yeah. So I think taking the perspective of those different areas, like taking the perspective of the caregiver, what's the caregiver experience, and working backward, and then improving it, and then survey those caregivers regularly and ask very specific intentional questions for outcomes that you want to for the goal of enhancing the value to them, right? So stepping into the shoes of the caregiver, stepping into the shoes of the family member. What's the family member's experience with your agency and your team and you? What is their experience? And then do the same. Survey them. Ask them questions. Really intentionally ask them specific questions so that you can enhance their experience. Same thing with referrals and just all the way down the line. And then once you get that feedback, actually act on the feedback and enhance your company. You're going to increase the value, but you have to step into their shoes. And if you're an individual that's difficult to do, find someone in your team who can do that and do it well. And then your job is just to execute on whatever feedback you get, right? And then creating policies and procedures and SOPs around that so that it's systematized, so that everybody you hire within your team is going to just execute, right, on that secret sauce that you've developed. Now, it doesn't happen overnight. It's over the course of a year or two or even 3 sometimes, but should be the focus because that's at the end of the day what is going to increase the value of your business and increase significantly the brand of your company in every way. So yeah.
Thing that's nice about SOPs is for those common issues that you've already been there, done that. It's already got the answers built in and everyone knows where to go to look for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it sets a guide really of how to handle new issues because
that's true.
there's not really too many new issues. There might be something you've come across for the first time yourself as an owner, but they seem to be relatively similar to something else you had to fight or go through before.
Mm-hmm.
And so just falling back on the same process. Sometimes there can just be an SOP for problem solving. Okay, if there's a problem past the SOPs, what's the process? And so you build a process to solve the problems that haven't been solved yet.
Yeah, exactly. And the SOPs don't have to be a whole book. It could be a half a page. It could be just as long as there's a guideline for everyone, So
just get started somewhere.
Just get started somewhere. Exactly. And it doesn't matter how small of an agency you are, and then you're just developing them over time. So,
okay. So we've been talking quite a bit about current ownership, people that own the business now getting the value of it out of it now and increasing that value. What are some things that, talking about going into their perspective, as we talk about branding and development from Revivify Marketing, we talk about always communicate from the perspective of the client or the loved one of a client or referral source. So it's their language, it's their motives, it's their desires that you're working to build outcomes around.
mm-hmm.
So what are some key things that a buyer, someone looking to buy a home care business might be looking for that home care owners not quite thinking that mode should start thinking about so that they can further prepare themselves and maybe even make themselves a stronger owner now to have that kind of thought logic happening in this moment rather than at the time of sale?
So your question is, what are the buyers looking for?
Yeah. What are buyers looking for?
Basically.
Yep.
So buyers, the first barrier to entry is your financial fitness, like the financials, right? And then the second is really the brand itself. They'll look at your website, they'll look at reviews, they'll look at like what you are, what impact you're having on the community from like a lens of the outside looking in. So the brand is actually really, really important. And they'll take into consideration those two things. And if those two things don't gel or aren't strong, your financial health and or the public brand, they'll pass it and they'll go to an agency that is performing on those two levels. And then once they see that's attractive, that makes the company desirable to that point of interest, then they'll engage a little deeper and get a little bit deeper and want the interview with the owner and me or another broker. And then they'll interview and ask the more specific strategic questions. They'll ask questions like, the first question they'll ask is how many hours are you working a week in the business? That's truly the number one question.
Wow.
Because they don't want to buy a job. They know that they're buying an asset, especially nowadays. There's so many savvy buyers out there. You know what I mean? It's just,
Hmm.
there's so much information floating around. They know exactly what to ask. They know exactly what they're looking for. And for the unprepared owner, the seller, it's really advantageous to, well, not be unprepared. You got to get prepared. So yeah, so they'll ask a bunch of questions.
So how important is that organization stuff? A lot of times we'll talk about with other brand experience partners,
Mm.
different types of software and technology, keep track of things. How important is it to have those things in place to really easily show like client list or
Huge.
any kind of things that make you unique and stand out within your community?
Oh gosh, it's so huge. So that I always talk about 11 areas of the business, right? So I don't know that we want to go into every single area, but there's
They
11.
can definitely reach out to you if they have more questions. Yep.
Exactly. But there's 11 areas that drive value to your company, right? So technology is one of them. If you're using technology, if you have a strong CRM, if you have a strong sales CRM for your sales team, if you have a sales team, they're always asking those questions. They're asking if you're doing surveys consistently with your people. And when I say your people, that's referrals, families, clients, and employees. Um, they always ask who's doing the financials, who's doing your billing and payroll. Is it you, the owner? Why is it you, the owner? Are you not trusting other people to do it for you? They just ask these very specific questions. So, yeah, I really do encourage owners to try to pull themselves out of the weeds of the company and really
Hmm.
just focus on building a team that can operate this company. It's going to impact the value completely and desirability.
I'm going to hang on to one of those things you mentioned a little selfishly. The CRM side. This is the only industry I've worked within where CRM is just not a common thing. There's a lot of scheduling softwares which are amazing and they're incredible, and some do some CRM activities. But imagine being able to turn over like a list of in the pipeline leads
Yeah.
and be able to know where they're at and know your conversion rate and know not just conversion rate from the website, but all the way down to number of people it takes from lead acquisition all the way to having a caregiver in the home. Those numbers are incredible. And
Huge.
trust me,
Hmm.
people out there with the money investing in home care because they know where it's going and they come in with a different kind of mindset than the typical home care caregiver to home care owner story. Those are critical facts and figures that they want to know.
Yeah, it's true. And what's interesting is it's so significant to determine how much you're going to harvest out of your business when you do that exit, right? So if you don't
Hmm.
have these things in place, right, those conversions you're talking about to actually turn over and it's strong, there's strong conversions and there's strong numbers, there's strong referral leads coming in consistently. If you don't have those figures or you don't have that data, but you're saying you have this, that bears no weight. If you can't
Yeah.
prove what you're saying your company can do, the buyer is going to completely discount your business and lowball your business for a lack of better terms. And you're not going to be able to walk away with what you think your company is worth. You have to prove your company is worth whatever you're asking, right? So
Yep.
it's really critical. It really is important. Um, yeah. And the other thing I want to add to this too, if I may, the reason why I'm so passionate about this is because I think that business owners don't realize or they assume they're going to be able to sell their business for whatever it is they feel they want to price it at. And they're assuming they're going to sell their business whenever they want to sell their business. They're comfortable riding into the sunset, right?
Hmm.
And the reality is that's just not the case. 50% of businesses that are on the market is because they have to be. When I say that, I mean there's extraordinary life events happening to that owner to compel them and force them to exit their business. And if that owner, let's just say, gets stricken with cancer or some sort of life-threatening illness and has to sell and isn't prepared, they're not either going to be able to sell it because there are no buyers that would buy a problem, or they're going to have to sell it for pennies on the dollar. And
Yeah. Sell it short,
that's
basically.
just the reality. That's just the
Yep.
reality. So all the things we're talking about today are really critical, in my opinion.
And it's kind of the difference between a happy meal, kind of a price versus a 7-course meal. The more things you have put together, the more things you have a line for them to look at and to absorb as a buyer, the more value there is.
I love that. I've never heard that, and I love that. Yeah, that's true.
You're welcome.
Haven't ever used that. I like that.
There's a wordsmith marketing side of me just snuck out.
I love it.
So, all right. So I know a lot of this can be pretty overwhelming to some of the owners, especially those that kind of hit what we talked about earlier and addressed earlier. They're just trying to get things figured out. But
Yeah.
I guarantee as you work on this mindset shift, some of that overwhelm starts to go away because as you work on and tackle some of these things a little bit at a time, it kind of becomes a problem that solves itself. The overwhelm goes away on its own, and you definitely reap the rewards in the meantime. So, looking at some of these things, what would be some first areas? Like, name 2 or 3 areas that you think home care owners should start first to be able to move in that right direction.
So the first two things I would say is understanding your margins, understanding your financial health of the company. I understand that we operate the company when we get the phone, that rings with that referral. We're excited. We want to staff the shift. And, you could still be excited, but still have a meeting with yourself the next day in double diving on your financials. I think that is the biggest missed opportunity. A lot of owners do not do that. They're either intimidated by it, don't know how to do it, or don't like it.
Hmm.
I say, and with all due respect, get over it. This is your business. If you want, value in your company, we've got to learn. We have to learn this piece of it. Once
Well,
we
before you move on to your second one,
yeah,
just going to add in here real quick. I've come across so many businesses where year over year they have more revenue,
yeah,
but they're still going backward on profit and they can't
right,
figure it out.
right,
So I love that you started there. Know your margins,
yeah,
know where things are coming from
mhm,
and what's going into them. So you know really how well you're doing financially as a business
right,
owner.
right. And what's going out, track what's going out. It's so easy to just, bring in all the money, but then if it's going out the back door, you're cash poor, right? The business is not profitable. So I think
Mhm.
understanding that, and what happens also in that mindset is you're now empowered. You're now less afraid of making business decisions because you understand this business decision is going to affect this margin. So am I going to do it or am I not going to do it? So it's a better position as a business owner to be empowered when you know those numbers and to make better decisions for the company. So
All
that's
right.
number one.
Second.
The
Yep.
second one
Second item.
Second item will help. Once you have the financials, it'll help you with the second item. And the second priority is to get yourself out of the weeds.
Mhm.
I always recommend understand what every department is doing so that you could help that team person when you hire that for that department, right? So if it's the staffing department, know how to staff. You know how to staff when you're early in, and you should know how to staff, and you should know how to do it effectively. And what you don't know, you try to educate yourself on. And then you hire for that piece, right? Then you know the Q&A. You know your quality assurance program, or you should know your quality assurance program. And if you don't, create one. What's the customer experience? What's your family experience there with the QA? How often are you going out? Why are you going out? Double down on that, learn that, and then you hire with that for that.
Mhm.
And before you know it, with that intention, year one, year two of a new, fresh business, you can start pulling out of the weeds of the company. You don't have to be married to the company. Your quality of life will be better. Your customer service will be better. You will probably start to become profitable at that point. Um, and those are the two main things that I would say everybody should focus on. 100%.
One thing I'd add is a lot of people get stuck in this trap, and I've been there before
Yeah.
with a past business where I was in charge of everything, had to touch everything, and letting it go meant letting quality go. It's kind of it's imprisoning, and so the more you can bring people and processes into place, you're actually magnifying your brand. If it's really not a brand just about you, and it's a brand about an experience and about an outcome that you promise the community, then more people, more healthy processes can actually magnify that, not reduce it. You're increasing your impact through that, not reducing yourself at all. And that's a
I
tough thing for people to let go of sometimes.
love that you said that. That's the truth. That's absolutely the truth. And it's critical. You have to do it. And we're in this to help seniors, right? We're in this to help the end user, and that's our older adults, our most vulnerable. Um, and once you get that concept, you will be able to help more, way more, because you are free to work on the business and maybe even open another one or whatever else you want to do. Right. So yeah, it's really important.
Awesome. Hey, Jennifer, really appreciate you spending the time here and explaining some of these really important things to home care owners, no matter where they're at. But, for you to get involved and help out a home care owner now, who's the best person to reach out to you and actually work with you? What kind of stage of ownership do you find that you can best come in and help them? And how do they get a hold of you?
Say at any stage for the financial side, I
Mhm.
say the sooner the better on the financials. And it doesn't have to be, it's not a long commitment or anything like that, but I'll teach you how to manage your margins. I'll teach you what a chart of accounts needs to look like from the buyer's perspective and from like banks and from a broker's perspective and what's going to be best for you. So any stage for that. For getting yourself out of the weeds, I would say probably your second year in and up. So if you're ever feeling like you're, by the third year, I truly feel you should be out of the weeds of your business. You should not be doing the day-to-days in your third year. There's a way you can pull yourself out of it. And if you're struggling around that and need one-on-one, I'm happy to sit with you and we can consult and I can help you start pulling back and hiring the right team for you and what to look for.
Perfect.
You can just email me at Jennifer at mnabusinessadvisors.com, or you can call me 760-270-1442. You can reach me at any time. I'm totally an open book. I'm here for you. And I'll make myself available as much as I can.
Awesome, Jennifer. Really appreciate all that. And if you do have questions, you know where to reach her. We'll put the link to her email and to her website and her phone number in the description should she give that out. Put all of it there for you to reach out to her. And yeah, just keep on making good experiences for your team, for yourself. This should be something just as rewarding for you as it is for every person's life that you're hoping to bless and impact through your business.
Love it. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate it.
Thank you.